Hello there everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, welcome back if you aren't, I am EDJ, and we are continuing with part 2 of History March's Hannibal series. So first part we kind of saw, some of Hannibal's early battles, and yeah, basically set the stage for the Second Punic War, and now here's probably Hannibal's one of his most iconic moments, his legendary crossing of the Alps, which was a very arduous journey, full of a lot of troubles for the most part. So I'm really excited to see History March explain this, and yeah, overall just insane. The fact that this move, right, crossing the Alps, I also believe he crossed during winter time, was like considered like really out there, like basically like almost suicidal, right? But the fact that he managed to do it, land in Italy, and go on to have one of the like best military campaigns of all time is just completely amazing. So yeah, overall I'm super excited to see this, and I just can't wait to watch one of the best moments of like military history told to me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if there's anything new I can learn from this. So yeah, that's about it for the most part. If you want to watch the original video without me talking or pausing to talk, the link is always down in the description down below. With that said, and without any further ado, let's get to it. Let's watch Across the Alps, Hannibal Part 2. The prize of death on the battlefield is to depart from life in the heat of the fight. Oh wow.
It is the year 218 BC. As Roman legions under Consul Tiberius Sempronius Longus sail south to invade Carthage itself, Gnaeus Cornelius Scipio Calvus is consolidating Rome's position in Iberia, while his brother, Consul Publius Cornelius Scipio, rushes back to the Po Valley to take command of the Roman army there and stop Hannibal. Both sides are confident of victory. Although the Carthaginians are faced with serious setbacks in Iberia, in Gaul, Hannibal speeds up his approach to the Alps when he befriends the Allobroge tribe by adjudicating in a dispute between two royal brothers over who should rule. The seemingly grateful new ruler of the tribe, Brancus the Elder, provides the Carthaginians with supplies, warm clothes, food, and guides. And so begins Hannibal's perilous journey through the Alps.
Let's do this.
But as the ascent begins, Brancus's friendly guides turn home. Here, Hannibal shows he is as skillful in mind games as he is in generalship. Sensing an ambush, he sends scouts ahead who report that the tribesmen are indeed mustering their forces just ahead on higher ground near their settlement, waiting to attack the passing Carthaginian column. With a select group of experienced troops, Hannibal sneaks up to a position overlooking the tribal settlement and plans his next move. As night falls, he signals his army to proceed marching. Spotting the movement, tribal sentries raise the alarm, and, just as Hannibal had hoped, an attack begins on the Carthaginian column. Expecting the impending attack, Carthaginian troops below stand fast on the precipice. A swarm of tribal warriors smashes into their solid defensive line, the initial push throwing many over the cliff's edge. But the Carthaginians hold their ground, and the tribesmen soon realize that they have fallen into a trap.
The flank.
Hannibal rushes downhill while Carthaginian troops from below simultaneously begin pushing uphill. Many tribesmen are cut down in a matter of minutes, their morale broken by the lightning-fast Carthaginian counterattack.
Dang. Super smart. You know, I keep forgetting that obviously we have the aerial view advantage, you know, but it's like these guys didn't, and like I'm thinking like how much having an aerial view would come in clutch in war. You'd basically be unstoppable, right? But that was smart. Hannibal, you know, definitely predicted something was up, and he went on to higher ground to get a better view of everything. So overall, just great move on his part.
With the enemy driven off, Hannibal and his men turn their attention towards the village. They storm the tribal settlement and seize all of their winter provisions. At dawn, the Carthaginian march resumes. Over the following 3 days, the marching column continues unopposed. But all that changes on the 4th day, as the Carthaginians enter a narrow gorge where they are met by several tribal chiefs who offer friendship, hostages, and guides.
Oh, really now? Okay. Luckily, Hannibal's smart, so yeah, these supposed friends. And it kind of makes sense Hannibal would be on his guard. He literally walked in there and then almost got attacked, so yeah, makes sense. He probably is thinking, I can't trust anyone here, and rightfully so.
Suspecting that the Gallic tribes from these parts are no friendlier, Hannibal accepts their offer, but takes precautions by secretly moving the vulnerable baggage train and cavalry to the front of the column, and positions his heavier infantry in the rear. As the Carthaginians' march continues through the extremely narrow pass, the 200-meter vertical cliffs ominously tower over them. And they are not alone.
Yeah, don't they start dropping boulders? I think I may have heard that they start dropping giant, like, boulders or rocks on the Carthaginians, which is wild. But yeah, this is like the perfect ambush, and they wouldn't be able to get up and fight back, so they just have to move their way through while being harassed. It really is just, on the part of these tribes, a pretty good move right here.
The Gallic warriors are watching from above. Having set up an ambush further up the gorge, the tribesmen bide their time, shadowing Hannibal's army for 2 days. But suddenly, at a very narrow point in the gorge, the Carthaginian column gets blocked from the front as the tribesmen unleash their attack. Rocks and projectiles rain down from the cliffs above onto the Carthaginians below, killing many in the process. Animals panic and trample over soldiers who hopelessly look for cover. The main Gallic force appears behind the Carthaginian column and charges the rear.
Smart move, moving his supplies at the front. Dang, he's basically, he's trapped from the front so he can't progress at the moment. He's being hailed from the top, from the sky, and these guys are jumping from him. Dang, he's literally like, kind of like blocked on all fronts here.
Expecting weakest resistance there, as they hope to loot and destroy their supply train. But again, Hannibal proves he is one step ahead of his opponents, as the heavy Carthaginian infantry he previously placed in the rear pushes back the Gallic charge and inflicts heavy losses on the enemy, forcing them to retreat after a brief battle. Hannibal then urges his men to push forward out of the killing zone, as the barrage of rocks from above continues, It is not until one day later that the Carthaginians finally reach safety on the other side of the gorge.
Again, the day is saved by Hannibal anticipating his enemies, right? And then proceeding to plan accordingly. Like, even though that was a really bad situation to be in, I have to admire that he thought ahead. So overall, that thinking probably has saved him twice, you know, from complete and utter, like, chaos.
The last of the Alps attacks is beaten off, but the remorseless fighting against the Gallic tribes took its toll on Hannibal's army. To make matters worse, the weather soon turns as winter comes early. Hannibal's troops find themselves battling heavy snowstorms. While traversing through rocky gorges and steep mountain slopes, many are swallowed by treacherous voids lurking just under the snowfall. Men, animals and wagons slip and slither on the ice towards precipitous ravines and
Yeah, that's insane. Like, the moment it turns winter, they would just fall, and like one wrong step, and that in the obviously the weather just a complete nightmare. And they have to go through it. There's no turning back now, which is, oh my goodness, just insane, man.
treacherous chasms. Finally, 9 days into the march, the Carthaginians set up camp just below the top of the pass as they wait for stragglers to catch up. 2 days later, Hannibal rallies his troops at the top and points to the panorama of Italy below. There he vows to his men, "You will have the capital of Italy, the citadel of Rome, in the hollow of your hands." And with that, they begin descending towards the Po Valley. But the slopes on the way down are far steeper and largely covered in ice. The treacherous terrain claims the lives of many more troops and animals. Adding to the hardship, a collapsed stretch of road forces the Carthaginian column to stop for 3 days amidst freezing conditions while the road is repaired. But finally, after braving these horrific conditions, the Carthaginians reach the foot of the Alps. Having lost nearly half his army, Hannibal takes stock of his troops, who suffered terribly during the crossing. Of the 45,000 that set off through the Alps just 16 days ago, only 26,000 made it to the other side.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he lost a lot of people before he got to Italy. And then he kind of had to rely on, like, what, the tribes here, the Gauls. So, you know, which is amazing, because, like, to my knowledge, the Carthaginians weren't really, like, a warrior type of society. Their empire was more like a merchant empire, you know, like their trade and whatnot. And unlike the Romans, I don't think a lot of Carthaginians were in the military, you know. I believe they relied a lot on, like, mercenaries, I believe, and, you know, to do their fighting. And so, you know, Hannibal, you know, what amazes me about him is that obviously he had mercenaries. He had all these, you know, foreigners in his army. And I think by the end, I'm not sure how much of his own army was Carthaginians, but I don't believe they were the majority at all. So the fact that he could keep this very ragtag army, all with different motives, none particularly having much personal allegiance to him, the fact that he could keep all of them together and go on to fight Rome, which was on its way to becoming the greatest power of the ancient world, is just amazing. Like, I think that's why I'm impressed a lot about Hannibal, you know. It's just, he did so much with an army that you could look at and be like, yeah, that's gonna fight Rome, and, like, he goes on to really put up a great fight. So I just really admire, I think that's just a testament to his leadership, that he could pull something like that off. Okay. During the crossing of the Alps, I think we're done, yeah. Alright, during the crossing of the Alps, Hannibal supposedly rode an Asian elephant called Saurus, the Syrian. Asian elephants were larger than their African cousins, and by riding this enormous beast, Hannibal believed that the fearsome spectacle would persuade the Gauls to remain loyal. Yeah, I think that's kind of the main use of elephants. Like, they were meant more for shock and, you know, and breaking of morale, right? Like, when you're facing an enemy unfamiliar with elephants, it's like, to them, you're riding some random monster, right, into battle, and I think the shock would often break morale. I think elephants more broke armies, not by actually inflicting a lot of casualties themselves, but just by breaking their resolve and morale, and, you know, shocking them with these giant spectacles, you know. As we know, the moment people get used to elephants, like the Romans, they no longer pose a threat. But, like, you know, just encountering them the first few times is enough to really worry people and, like, kind of break their bravery, right? So, yeah, overall, it's good to know Hannibal did use some fear to keep people in line. So, yeah, overall, yeah, I don't think... Yeah, there's really nothing left. So, this was another great video. Yeah, a very arduous journey. And, you know, Hannibal, yeah, obviously he was doing pretty well, but then the weather changed. And then just that's where a lot of people died. Falling, you know, the conditions were awful. But the fact that they braved through that probably gave them more confidence to face Rome, right? They were like, we just went through that, I think we're ready. We can go through anything else, right? So, overall, another fantastic video. You know what I like about these videos? They're not too long. Like, I feel like I could watch them a lot. Like, I like it when videos are short. Don't get me wrong, I like, you know, 20 to 30 or more minutes. But, like, sometimes when you're binging them, it's harder. But, like, with these, wait, I'm speaking. Yeah, like around... Most of these are like under 20 minutes, so I feel like I could really keep binging. In fact, I kind of want to just binge right now. So I really like that. He condenses a lot of information in these short videos, but he does it masterfully, where I'm not like wondering, like, oh, he could have probably added more. I'm like, okay, he got the main point across. So, overall, yeah, very great work, and I can't wait for the next video from History March. I'll see you guys next time for more Hannibal. Bye, everyone.